my message is you have a choice. We all have a choice. We can continue to fight uphill, trying to change consciously through our creative mind and wondering why we just feel like we're going one step forward and two steps back, or we can commit to doing the work, and we can commit to letting go of this stuff that's all buried in our subconscious, so that for once and for all, we can let go of this that's been holding us back and putting us in a state of self-sabotage and negative thought loops and self-judgment and self-deprecation. And we can let go of some of this stuff, and so we don't hand it down to our children and our children's children and their children's children. And of course, that's not going to be done in a single session, but you can sure knock a lot of that out pretty quick if you commit to doing the work, because ultimately breath work is the fast track to uncovering that stuff, bringing it to the surface, and giving it an opportunity to be released somatically through the body.
Ooh, when you told me that we have 14 generations of baggage, I was like, oh my God, that explains a lot.
It's kind of funny, right? Because we blame our parent, like, it was my mom and dad's fault. And the funny part about it is there's a certain part of that that's actually true. It is mom and dad's fault to a certain extent, but you get to a certain point in your development, you realize I can continue to play the victim and blame everybody, or I can just take responsibility, not worry about whose fault it was, and just commit to doing the work. And that's a much more empowering place to do the work from.
Yes, I know all the soul diggers listening are like very much into the responsibility and knowing that if you're going to co-create your life, you've got to be responsible for like how you respond to it. But there's also this underlying thing of like, okay, I thought I worked on that, but it keeps coming up. And so when I heard that, it allowed me to just have so much more compassion for myself, not trying to beat myself up thinking I should be further along or I should have got it deeper by now. And then also to other people. So I now look at other people differently with more compassion, because I know they've probably got 14 years worth of trauma that they're dealing with that I can't see, that they don't even see. And it's just fascinating how the breath work just like, so how does it actually work to unlock these things and then come out? Like, how does it get released?
It's a good question. So there's a lot of different theory on this, but the one that I've subscribed to is Bruce Lipton actually covers this area really well, just in regards to the theta brainwave state. But essentially, when you do this conscious connected breathing, and you're breathing really deep as I train anyways, you get to the first 15 or 20 minutes, and that's the hardest part, because your prefrontal cortex is still active. So the monkey mind lives in the prefrontal cortex of the brain. When you get to a state, into the breath state, as breath workers would call it, your prefrontal cortex slows down. It's a phenomenon called transient hypofrontality. So it's basically like when people say they're in flow state, and it can be triggered not just by breath work, exercise, really good sex. Like, these are things that can when you're having really good sex, you're not thinking about like monkey mind's not going crazy. You're in it. You're in a state of flow. Same with exercise, same with breath work. And when you get into that state and you combine that with getting into unlocking theta brainwave state, theta brainwave state is essentially the hypnosis state of our brainwaves. And we're there every single day. That's what most people don't realize. We're actively there for the first 7 years of our lives. We're super imaginative. You know, that's why kids are their imagination is running wild, because they're in theta brainwave state. And we're there every day. And when we wake up in the morning, for those first few minutes, when you're kind of half here, half there, you're in theta. When you're going to bed and you're half here, half there, you're in theta. That's why if you ever get into like guided self-hypnosis, they say, listen to this right when you're waking up in the morning or before you're going to bed. That's because they want you to tap into the theta brainwave state. So when you put those two phenomena next to each other, you got transient hyperfrontality shutting down the monkey mind, so you become more present, more in your body. And then you have theta brainwave state, which is essentially what allows us to dive deep into the unconscious. Now you have someone that is in a heightened state of awareness and a state of hypnosis. What happens when you're in hypnosis? You're very susceptible to autosuggestion. So you can, whereas if I try to sit here and I try to tell you, Kim, here's how this works with your negative thought patterns, and this is what you're going to do to fix it. Your cognitive rational mind might be thinking, who the fuck is this guy? how does he, who does he think he is? I already know this. You know, your brain's already trying to find the loopholes in it and maybe make me wrong. Maybe not. Maybe you're very open because you trust me. But most people, there's a lot going on in our minds when people are feeding us information. However, when you're in this state of brainwave state and your prefrontal cortex is down, your guards are down. So if when I come in there, I'm starting to drop, you know, little nuggets of wisdom and quotes and reframes and smashing out limiting beliefs and things like that. There's no resistance to letting it go anymore. And if there's any, it's very little. So people come out and they're like, holy shit, I don't even know what happened. I just feel better. I'm not speaking to your conscious mind in there. Me and your subconscious are having like a one-on-one. It's like me and your subconscious. And that gives you the ability to, it's like all that trauma is stored in our body. Anybody that's ever done trauma research, you know that it's like, it becomes trapped in the body. You fall off your bicycle, you have a abusive relationship. If you don't somatically process through this trauma, it's stored in the body somewhere. It's stored in our joints and around our heart center in different places. It's kind of like imagine like a soda bottle, like a club soda, right? And they got all little bubbles that form on the side. That's like all of our traumas that are trapped in our body. Well, how do you release those? You tap the bottle and they bubble to the surface, and without any force, they're released. Breathwork is the tap, right? It's basically, you know, so all that stuff can come to the surface to be released. You can feel like you did 5 years of psychotherapy in an hour without having to utter a single word because of the state that you've induced. And most people are trying to make sense of it for a day or a week or a month after that. I don't even know what happened. I just know that I feel better. And that's probably the most feedback I get. Like, of course, I hear the extreme, I did this and next day I changed my life. I quit my job. I got out of my abusive relationship. I'm changing my life completely. But the middle point is usually people saying, you know, I just feel lighter and better and more relaxed and my triggers are less. And I feel like I have a better relationship with my stress. To be honest, I love that feedback the most because it's sustainable. It's like you've tasted the medicine, you know where to find it, you know, you can, whatever that means, you know, buy my course and doing it with me in the morning for 30 days or watching YouTube videos. I don't care. But my message is once you unlock that door, nurture the relationship with the process of healing and letting go and giving in and surrendering and accepting, because it's a lifelong journey.